Well, one of my favorite guests is my old friend Tarek Fatah. And you may be wondering, well, Ezra, if he's one of your favorite guests, why hasn't he been on the show lately? And the reason is because he has his own show overseas, but I'm delighted he's back in Canada, and joining us now in studio is my friend Tarek. Great to see you. Welcome back.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
You know what? I love following you on Twitter and social media. You spend a lot of time in India these days.
Yes, over 6 months.
Tell me, give us a bit of an update. So much has happened.
Well, I went there to, write a book, and during that course, ZTV approached me. ZTV is the biggest network over there, and they wanted to do some sort of a discussion where, they wouldn't be accused of being racist or anti-Muslim, So they suggested a show tongue-in-cheek called Fatah Fatwa.
I know your name is Fatah, and fatwa is like a Muslim judicial sentence, right? So what does Fatah Fatwa mean?
It means Fatah's fatwa, the apostrophe S, my fatwa. And the condition was there would be no non-Muslims on the show.
Oh, wow.
So it would
all
be
Muslims talking about Islam.
So free for all between people who stood for different issues, whether it's child marriage or Sharia banking, or stuff that freaked out folks, like temporary marriage issues going on, or just
so you're really getting into the Sharia, really talking about
not just Sharia, just the tradition, the cultural issues, and the bullying power of the Muslim.
Do you ever talk about terrorism?
We touched on it. And we would run into a brick wall with people simply in denial, but others came up. We ran into young people who would mob us on the street, and say, why don't you talk about this?
Can I show a quick clip for our folks? Because they're so boisterous and so much fun. Now, it's not in English, so we'll play a clip, and maybe you can tell me what you're talking about. Let's take a quick look at Fatah Fatwa.
दुनिया भर में फैला दिया कि जो औरत बुर्का ना पहने वो सही मुसलमान नहीं है।
मैं कहता हूं बुर्के की कायद नहीं है, ये बिल्कुल गलत कह रहे हैं। पर्दे की कायद है।
पर्दा क्या मतलब
होना चाहिए?
पर्दा तो लफ्ज है ही नहीं।
औरत के माने खुद पर्दे कहने वो पर्दे में रहने की चीज है।
देखिए मौजू देखिए अब्बास भाई, मौजू ये है कि वो सोच जिससे एक शख्स दूसरे को कत्ल करने पे आ जाए।
Now, I don't know if you recall that episode. Who were those guys?
So on the left was the young man. He's a writer, a fiction writer in Hindi, whose work is being now translated. And sitting on his left was this mullah. With a piece of cloth on his head, very Saudi style. This guy on the right, and he is just freaking out. I can't remember the subject, but
it looked very boisterous, very lively.
It's because the young woman on the right, and then there's another fellow who has been declared as he's a Muslim, but he's been declared as kafir or
an apostate or an infidel,
and he's sitting there, and they're all sitting in the same room.
And that's a lively, potent mix.
And it's a 1 hour discussion, which means people have to say something. You can't simply turn around and say, well, this is a Jewish conspiracy or a Hindu conspiracy, or well, then tell us what does it say? Why is there temporary marriage? Isn't it not prostitution?
Temporary marriage, that's sort of
the
a legal fiction that, I'm not having an adulterous affair. We're getting married for 1 hour and then we're divorced again. So that's basically
it triggers an automatic divorce, and it's getting common in Toronto.
So it's a legal fiction under Sharia law to permit prostitution. Is that an accurate statement of a temporary marriage?
I would say it's a legal sanction to have sex with someone you want to, because your physiological needs demand so.
So this takes advantage of the concept of polygamy. So you may have one wife at home, but you
No,
went out.
polygamy is different.
Yeah.
The temporary marriage is also called traveler's marriage.
Oh, wow.
So, and the Sunni Muslims would say, oh, that's just the Shias doing it. No, it's happening in Egypt, it's happening in Indonesia, it's happening in India in a ruthless scale where Gulf sheikhs come over, take over 15-year-old kids for temporary marriage and then depart. And it's just horrendous. But the problems facing Muslims in India is one of delusion, that they were conquerors of this land and they are meat eaters, so they will crush the Hindu who's a vegetarian. And this is in their mindset. And then they become overtly anti-Pakistan just to show the Indian patriotism, but deep inside you scratch a little bit, and there's an admiration there. And so we ask people, why don't you have Indian names? We never met an Arab who's got an Indian name. Why does an Indian have an Arab name? And they won't have an answer.
You know, these are interesting things to me, and I can imagine India, I mean, it's a very large country, more than 1 billion people, a very large Muslim population.
150 million.
Yeah. If it was its own population, it would be one of the largest Muslim countries in the world.
Well, half the world's Muslims live in the Indian subcontinent.
Yeah.
It's strange that Mr. Trump couldn't find them anywhere at the table.
That's right. Now, it looked very lively and fun, and I love that Indian-style coat you were wearing. What's that called, a Nehru jacket or something?
A Jodhpuri. It's from Jodhpuri.
It looks classy, and I could see like you're the judge holding court. Now, here's what I want to blow the mind of our viewers.
Yeah.
You know, we think we're pretty big here at The Rebel. We have 745,000 YouTube subscribers. In the States, CNN, if they're having a good night, get 2 or 3 million views.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Fox, you know, their great night, 3.5 million views. Now, ABC, CBS, they can easily have more than 10 million.
Yeah.
Now, Z News, I bet most of our viewers in Canada haven't heard of Z News.
It gets here.
Oh, yeah.
It's in every home, trust me.
Now, tell me, how many people, and this is going to blow the mind of our viewers today, how many people in India and around the world, Z News Global, would have watched Fatah Ka Fatwa?
A minimum of 100 million. And most of the season it was approaching 200 million. On the scale in India of 1 to 21, to measure the real hits based on, it was reaching 17 to 20. So on Sunday nights it was the biggest show.
So this is like American Idol or the Super Bowl.
Yeah, nobody had ever talked of these things.
I think that's why, because all these pent-up ideas, and even if people didn't agree with you, at least they could have a conversation.
No, there were 10 to 12-year-olds dragging their parents in shopping malls saying, Dad, that's the guy.
You have a certain look. You're very identifiable.
No. And they would come over, an 80, 90-year-old who had migrated after 1947's partition to India from what is now Pakistan. Women would start crying.
Wow. Well, you know what? Not everyone loved it or had a positive reaction. Let me quote a terrible story, and I'm quoting from the Toronto Sun. Of course, the Toronto Sun loves you as we do too. The headline is, Cops Thwart Death Plot Against Sun columnist Tarek Fatah. And of course, this is based on Fatah Ka Fatwa, right? Some people didn't like what you were saying.
Yes, there were ISIS hitmen sent to sort of take care of me. And now I understand why I was asked, we've done season 1. I had to tweet, basically, I was going to Bangladesh when actually I flew to Geneva.
Oh,
this was real.
As deception to
Yes. I didn't know at that time.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I didn't know. But once I left, I was informed that it's serious. And the only reason I kept in Delhi was because it's Union territory. And people can keep an eye on me. I was attacked by about 150 people at a Urdu reading festival And
you get invited to do speeches.
Yes.
Sometimes on campuses, there's a lot of universities in India.
Yes.
It's a huge. It's like a whole world unto itself, India.
Yes.
And how are those speeches received? Sometimes well, sometimes do they try and block you?
In all humility, I would say, with great adoration,
Except for those who want to block you.
Yes, but even then, they are welcome to come on stage and talk about it.
Yeah.
And my first question to Indian Muslims was, why do you reject Indian names? I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
If your parents, if you want to name your child the moon,
Yeah.
and you pick not the Indian word for it, which is Chand,
Yeah.
but pick the Arab word for it, or the Persian word for it, what's in your mind? Your child has been named as moon, or the sun, which is Shams, or Suraj.
Yeah.
The Indian Pakistani Muslim is not going to embrace anything Indian except the cuisine.
So you're talking about patriotism, really?
No, I'm talking about a frame of mind. They're patriots, but in the language, in the script being used of those who conquered and destroyed India, I cannot, as a Muslim of Indian origin, celebrate that invader.
Right.
So I got a road change, the name of a road change. The main street in Delhi was Aurangzeb Road. I declared I'm going to take a paint of black oil and, basically do an...
So that was an Arabic name.
It is the name of the Mughal emperor who slaughtered the Sikhs and Hindus, and his father, his brother, his son, the biggest mass murderer of Indian history.
It would be like Stalin Avenue, or Mao Avenue.
No, it was like Hitler.
The Hitler Avenue.
Hitler Avenue in Warsaw.
Yeah.
You can't imagine it.
Yeah.
So when I took the initiative, I said I need 20 young Muslim volunteers. People came up. And then an MP said, don't worry, we'll do it the right way.
Wow.
They changed his name.
Wow, isn't it?
And you can achieve all this if you, the motto of India is the truth always rises.
Oh, that's a great motto.
It is.
Yeah.
And the Vedic philosophy is your duty is not to expect anything in return.
You know what? I tell you, I've never been to India. Some of our
you
team-
sure?
You're making me very curious. And the idea of 100 million people, that's bigger than the Super Bowl.
The only place on earth where the Jews were not persecuted.
Yes.
And you haven't been there?
Yeah.
Oh!
And it's true, there was a Jewish community. So in fact,
Konkani Jews.
Yeah.
In fact, today the city of Cochin in Kerala on the south still has the synagogues over there. I met the people there who take care of it.
Well, I tell you, maybe one day, and I'm just daydreaming here, maybe
You
one
come
day
with
we'll
me.
have a rebel India.
Why
maybe
not?
one day.
We'll go together.
Wow.
People think we are twins.
Yeah. Jerry, it's great to see you. Congratulations. Fatah Ka Fatwa on ZTV. Oh, great to be back with you. And welcome back, and stay safe, my friend.
I will.
You're doing
Thank you.
important work. There
Thank
you
you.
have it. Tarek Fatah back in Canada and a superstar in India. Hey, if you like that, sign up for my show every day. Click on the screen to subscribe.